I would like to preface this by saying this is not necessary. None of this is necessary, and yet somehow I have these. And nobody really wakes up saying, hey, I'm gonna buy a pen. Well, a fountain pen. So, what makes a pen in the category of Holy Grail pens? For me, it's more like I've been thinking about these pens longer than it is healthy. And it's not necessarily the most expensive pen. It's just that it's the one that my brain has like zeroed in and said, this is endgame if you get these. And I know that I haven't been really been buying pens, maybe one or two, mainly because they're pretty and it doesn't necessarily cost as much as this, because these have more affordable variants. I'm aware of that, but these are more like the limited editions. And even before I purchased any of these, I really was thinking about it long and hard. And if it was, it's not going to be practical, okay? But I really gave it some thought. And I also sold a few of my fountain pens because I have been trying to get rid of the blue ones that I have. And I have sold them at a pretty good price because it's really more on, it doesn't hold any emotional significance in my life anymore having blue pens. And green for me is, it just it has that significance anyway. So this is going to be quite chatty, and if you want to get to the part where I start inking, well, you see what I'm going to be inking them with, I would probably leave a timestamp as soon as I figure out where that is. But I wanted to share these pens and the story behind them. And then I never really thought of completing this in the span of time that it did, because pens haven't been really releasing designs or colorways that have been very attractive to me. Yes, there are a lot more, but these greens, I think if you've known me personally, or if you've been following the channel for quite some time, even on Instagram, I am drawn to like green pens now. So I wanted to streamline the entire collection into pens that I could actually use rather than just pens that look good in a case. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for me, I try to stay as practical, and that sounds really like contradicting because no one really needs pens to write that costs this much. So we're gonna go into this in the order that I got them. This is the Pilot Decimo. It's the Nagasawa 2025 limited edition in Higashi Kawasaki Harbor Mint. And the base model is a typical capless Decimo, and I got the silver trim. Now, this was not really as difficult to get, but when I was looking for the nib grade, I needed this in extra fine. And one of the things, or my conditions in buying a pen, well, just to help me not overspend and buy everything that's pretty, is that it has to meet certain criteria. Now, one of those was that if I was gonna buy a new pen, I did not want to have to spend on having nib work done, meaning I didn't want to have it custom ground to another extra fine. Now, when I saw this, I think this was released around mid-April, and it's already July, August. Well, it's the 3rd of August that I'm filming this, but I got this around early July because this was really intended as a birthday pen for me. And when I saw this online, I knew I really wanted it. And that was around April, around May. And I really liked it. So it was more than a month or two that I've been eyeing this. I want the silver trim as well, and I'm not really a fan of gold, but I haven't. Now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't seen the pen in gold. I mean, yeah, I saw pictures and all, but I've never really seen like up front. It's mint, it's brown, it's green, and it's soft, it's cool. And I knew that it had to be in my collection. And this was the very first fountain pen that, well, is it the first? Yeah, but well, it's one of the first fountain pens that I considered buying that was usually more costly than my usual, because depending on the source, the price range would be around 370 US dollars or 590 Singapore dollars, but mostly it's really, for me, it was around less than 20,000 pesos. And some were selling it cheaper, so it really depends. But at the time that I got this, I think it was around 39,000 yen. I have to look at my notes, but yeah, it was around 39,000 yen, and that's not something I would usually spend on a pen. But considering that it was something I really wanted, and of course it was my birthday, so I still ended up getting it. And as soon as I opened the package, I knew that it was just worth every savings that I did on to get this pen. And yeah, so I want to share also what I have inked this with. Sorry about the first part. I realized that the exposure was way too high, like mid filming already, and I think I pressed it along the way, but that was not the intention, but I'm sorry. So here we go again. This is the actual pen color, and I wanted to show it to you that's not like exposed in the highest level. So there. I hope this gives you a better glimpse of what the color is like. And we're gonna be inking it, and we're gonna go again. So I originally have an ink swatch book, but this time I wanted to, because I, like you're gonna see here, I really could not figure out what to ink certain pens with. And so I wanted to see how it would look like on my actual journal, aside from just having the ink swatch journal. This should not surprise you anymore, because if this is gonna be my favorite pen, it's gonna be with my favorite ink. So this is Wearingeul's Mad Hatter, and I really love this ink for some reason. Wearingeul just caught me in a chokehold that, I don't know, I just really love this pen. But also I considered using what's that, Tinkerbell on this, and Adventures of Tom Sawyer. But with Tinkerbell, I was really worried that yes, it had shimmer and it was fine, but the nib of this is really extra fine that I didn't want to have problems using shimmer ink on a nib that's this thin. And you're gonna see exactly why, because I'm gonna be like doing a writing swatch with you. I could continue talking while swatching, but knowing me, something is absolutely gonna go wrong if I do that at the same time. So if I just keep quiet, I'm still here, and it's just me doing this. I'd like to include like little, I don't know, things. But also, I think you're gonna have an idea just how thin the nib is and why it's just so perfect. I'm trying to get an angle that is gonna be easier for everyone to see when I swatch this. So I hope this is pretty good without my hand blocking the entire writing. I hope it looks fine, because I'm really having a hard time writing. hope you can see how green it is, because one of the considerations I've had when looking for a green ink is that in spite of it having thin lines, it's still gonna be green and not black when you look at it. Maybe I'm not just doing it, doing a good job capturing it on camera, but there. So the nice thing is that, yeah, so no problems. With my writing now, it's a little more difficult to be swatching while writing because I really have bad posture. But anyway, so that is what is inked in this pen, and if it's my favorite pen, it has to go with my favorite ink. This is the Platinum 3776 Kasumi, and this is also an extra fine. Now, surprisingly, this is not really a pen silhouette that I would go for. I really like the squarish ones. I just learned that this is called a cigar silhouette, and it wasn't exactly the shape that I wanted. But funny thing is that this was the one I really saw online that I said, "Oh, I might consider trying a platinum pen." And this is not exactly a new release. I mean, it's also been months before this was released, and I started asking online how people like their platinums or how why they didn't like it. And it was really this that I was eyeing for because I didn't know about this. Now, I saw this in Scribe, and Scribe had that fine writing month sale. But sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I went to Scribe and I wanted to, because they had like an area where there were platinum nibs that you could try out, and that was the first time I really tried out an extra fine nib. And the writing was absolutely smooth on my traveler's notebook inserts. And when I saw this in green, in this kind of green, they were already teasing me that, oh, it's meant to be for you. And I didn't really get it that time, and I was pretending to be behaving. And then they told me that on that Friday, it was going to be the Fine Writing Month sale, and this was going to be included. So instead of paying, I'm just rounding it up, instead of paying 25,000 on this Philippine peso, it was only going to be around 17,500. And it made me think that if I was going to go for the other pen that I really wanted, I'm losing light and I'm so sorry, but if I was going to go for the pen that I really wanted, I might as well get this on sale. And here we are with this pen, and I love it. I really do. I am still trying to enjoy the cigar shape, but really the writing experience is smooth, and there are etchings. I don't know if I can make it appear on camera. You're gonna see that there are like intricate designs, although it doesn't affect the way you would be writing or the way it, you know, the writing experience is still the same. But I also wanted to share that. And then you're going to see that it has like this number if it appears. So mine is, so they apparently they only made, hang on, I can't even see it properly. They only made 3,000 of this, and this is number 440. And yeah, so it comes with this pretty nib. It has a heart on it, and I'm not exactly the most sentimental person there is, but yeah. And I have no regrets with this pen. I am so glad that I tried it out, and also for the first platinum that I've ever used, I am glad that I got this on a discounted price. This has got to be one of my favorite dark green inks. It's from Diamine. I'll never get that right, but anyway. So this is Canalside, and I used to not like this brand so much because of an incident with oxblood, and it just would not dry. But anyway, So I love the pairing with the Kasumi, and I don't know, I feel like it was intentionally made for each other. But now we're gonna swatch this. Although I already have a swatch of this in my other pages, but I felt that it was nice to have this like and currently inked on my fountain pens. So now that I'm using a take a note, it seems, well, it doesn't smudge or like stay wet for a long time. This Diamine ink seems a little drier than most Diamine inks I've tried. So I like how it works with the platinum. And as I was saying, there were like those things that I'd consider in a dark green ink that I don't want the fine lines to look like black, and I still want it to look green. And maybe on camera it's not exactly showing up, but when I look at my pages, I know it's green and it's not black. Oh, I forgot also, and the back part there. So pretty good. Oh yeah, pretty good. Still no bleeding. This is the pilot Decimo, and I believe that this was released dur- during a stationery fair last March in Japan. I don't really see this posted online often. So when I saw this at Pensachi, I liked it, obviously, and I just, let it there. Because again, it wasn't on sale or anything, so I really had no right to be buying a fountain pen. But anyway, so Pensachi recently had a sale and this was included, and I knew I wanted it because if I saw this in April, it's been how many months and I still want it. So obviously it fits my checklist of pen purchase goodies. So I got this, and again, it was in the silver trim. I don't know if it came out in other trims, but also I believe there was a blue and there was an orange. And of course, I was gonna go for the green one. And it already came in extra fine, which again, it checked like those boxes, and I didn't have to have extra work done in it. So it's kind of that like gradient thing all over again, but this time it's just green and white. Am I showing it properly? But there. Let me try to. There you go. So, hang on. This is how different the shades are. Well, kind of, but this does not have enough white in the body. But there. Oh, and if you're curious to see how different the pens are from the regular vanishing point, this is my black pilot vanishing point, and this is the Decimo. And am I gonna be able to show you how different though? There. So one of the things is one of the most noticeable parts of it is that the Decimo is slimmer than the vanishing point. You can see, and I think the vanishing point is heavier. Well, not think, it actually is heavier. And Though they both have the same innards, meaning you can interchange whatever's inside. That's one of the nice things about Pilot too. Because if I'm not mistaken, it's the Kokuno, it's the Prera, and the Varsity that you can interchange nibs. Anyway, so for size comparison, yeah. And I was really excited because I got this, there was a 15% off or something like that. This is another ink that I don't really use, and I only bought it because it was Slytherin and it was green. But until lately, I realized that it would be a pretty good pair with this, and you're gonna swatch it with me. This is my first and only Montegrappa ink, so I'm not sure how it responds with paper, but we'll see. Look at how green that is. It's more like a rich emerald. I don't know how to describe it. Obviously, I am not the best at trying to describe how colors are, but it's really vibrant. And if you're going to compare, it's like one of those brighter, muted greens. There's the back. Just have to wait for this to dry a bit. I mean, look at that. How is that not like the perfect green for this specific pen? I don't. Maybe I am trying to match the ink with the body, but also I'm trying to match the characteristics of the ink with the characteristics of the pen, because some inks are too wet and some inks are a bit dry. So I still have to like try everything out. That's why I have this page right here where I tried all the inks that I wanted to use in the specific pen, and this is how I ended up deciding that these are the inks that are going to be in those pens. If I'm being honest, this is the pen. This is the only reason why I considered trying Platinum as a brand, because as I mentioned, I'm not really that fond of the silhouette, but as soon as I saw this in a photo, I knew I wanted it. I There was something about the ash sage green kind of thing that I really liked, but also I was really hesitant on paying 25,000 pesos or like 430 US dollars on it, because it's not a cheap pen. I mean, I know that there are more expensive pens out there, and I'm not the type to get into those. Um, yeah, I'm just not. But this, I was really thinking if I could justify paying that much for a pen, and uh, it's really just so nice. It's pretty. It's elegant. I don't know how else to describe it, but I don't know. I just really, really love it. And when Scribe said that they were gonna have this in stock, I knew my days were numbered because I was gonna end up getting it anyway. And for this one, I believe they made less. I think Platinum only made 2,500 pens. Hang on. If you're gonna see, if you can see, there you go. It's the one I got is 160 out of 2,500, and it's not showing up, but Anyway, that's what I got. And the thing is, I haven't really found the perfect ink for this yet because I think that Platinum is a bit of a wet, juicy writer. So I'm still looking for a relatively more dry ink because this one, when I use other inks, it was still kind of bold and wet. And I used Diamine and it was perfect. So I really do not plan on changing inks for this pen. And ideally, these Grail pens, I don't want to keep changing their inks. And that's what I'm going to be permanently using. So I have other green pens that I do intend to like use other inks with, but definitely these four are going to be the ones that stay. So for now, what I am using here is the Ferris wheel press dancing time. Here you go. This is what I've been using with it, and we're gonna swatch it. If you're wondering why I always have this pencil board, it's because I don't want to risk like my hand smudging the next page because I just do not like that at all. I think this is gonna be a little more bold or wet. So this is the reason why I still want to look for that green sage green ink that's gonna work well with this. Oh, now it decides to write like a little, huh. But ideally, this is what I had in mind. Oh, it's writing the way I wanted it to. So, hmm, well, that's not what I had in mind. But, well, I knew that it was going to be a little more wet because when I tried to write with Mad Hatter, it was kind of thick. Now, writing it with Dancing Time, it became thinner. So I still don't know how to explain that, but this is really what I had in mind. But then again, I'm still gonna look for that drier ink so I can use it with this pen. And those are the four Grail pens that I am so happy to have in my collection. And really, the main intention here is that these are Grail pens that I want to use and not just look pretty on a shelf. And I like that it writes the way I need it to do. It writes the way I need it to write. And it's going to make me use it even more. And it's not just going to be like money sitting on a shelf, if that makes any sense. And that's why I really took the time and tried to find these and look for inks that work well with it. So my last search really is for a drier ink for this, and I'll be perfectly happy. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. And let me know if you have Grail pens in mind. What are they? Is it something you want to use? Is it something you want on display? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.